When a marriage falls apart in the public eye, it usually destroys both sides. Careers crumble, reputations collapse, and the headlines never let you move on. But Peter Andre did something rare. He survived the chaos of Katie Price. He lived through one of the most toxic breakups in celebrity history and somehow rebuilt himself into a respected father, husband, and entertainer. But how did he do it? How did a man who was mocked, doubted, and dragged through scandal turn his image around? And what does it say about Katie Price, who continues to spiral while Peter quietly thrives? Stay with me, because this is the full story of Peter Andre's life after Katie Price. A story of patience, strategy, and reputation rebuilt from the ground up. And before we dive deeper, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We've got explosive stories about the biggest names in British celebrity culture every single week, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. The year was 2009. Britain's ultimate tabloid couple, Peter and Katie, had collapsed in spectacular fashion. Their fairy tale wedding at Highclere Castle had turned into bitter divorce papers. The reality shows, the magazine deals, the perfect family brand, all of it was suddenly ash and dust. For Katie, the breakup was fuel. She turned her heartbreak into front-page headlines, interviews, and a relentless cycle of chaos. But Peter faced a different choice. He could play the same game, throwing accusations, giving tell-alls, making the feud his career, or he could take another path. And here's the first secret to Peter Andre's survival. He walked away from the circus. Of course, the split was messy. The cameras caught tension, the arguments, even explosive clips of him losing his temper. But once the divorce was finalized, Peter made a radical choice. Instead of cashing in on constant drama, he started to focus on one thing: his children. Let's be honest, Peter wasn't perfect. He had his own controversies. Old reality show clips have resurfaced, showing harsh words and cringe-worthy moments. Social commentators accused him of being manipulative, even narcissistic. The halo around him looked cracked, but here's the difference. When the dust settled, Peter didn't double down on chaos. He doubled down on consistency. While Katie lurched from scandal to scandal, Peter built a reputation for being steady. He put his kids first. He stopped turning every private battle into public content. He accepted legal rulings, stuck to court orders, and avoided using his children as weapons in a war of words. And that consistency is what made people trust him. In 2012, everything changed again. Peter met Emily McDonough, a medical student, the daughter of his surgeon friend. She wasn't a reality star. She wasn't chasing fame. She wasn't tabloid drama. She was normal. Their relationship grew slowly, carefully, away from the spotlight. And in 2015, they married. Together, they built a home life that looked like the complete opposite of Peter's past. Emily became the glue. A doctor with her own career, she grounded Peter. Their children, Millie, Theo, and baby Arabella, grew up in a stable household. Emily's Instagram is filled with family moments that are wholesome, calm, and safe. No chaos, no feuds, no staged scandals. This shift mattered. The public started to see Peter not as Katie Price's ex, but as a man who had rebuilt himself as a father and husband. While Katie's infamous mucky mansion became a symbol of dysfunction, Peter's home with Emily looked like peace. So how did Peter survive professionally after Katie? The answer is simple. He worked. No, not every project was glamorous. He wasn't topping charts like Mysterious Girl again, but he didn't need to. He chose steady gigs that kept him in the public eye and paid the bills. TV presenting, reality shows, pantomimes, family-friendly tours. He became the guy who turned up on time, who was polite to crews, who said yes to charity nights and smaller stages. It wasn't headline-grabbing, but it was smart. Because over time, that built a new brand. The brand of reliability. Compare that with Katie's constant bankruptcies, canceled shows, and failed comebacks. One career burned money, the other built trust. First, one of the most important turning points came in 2018. For reasons never fully revealed, Junior and Princess came into Peter's care. He never bragged about it. He never cashed it in for magazine deals. He simply raised them. Only this year, when Katie claimed the children lived equally between them, did Peter break his silence. He revealed that the family courts had issued a legally binding order in 2019 confirming his custody. He'd kept it private for 6 years, out of respect for the kids. Think about that. In an age where every celebrity sells their drama, Peter stayed quiet to protect his children. And when he finally spoke, it wasn't emotional. It was factual. That's why people believe him. That's why the saintly image, even if exaggerated, still sticks. He may not be perfect, but compared to Katie's chaos, he looks like a rock. Of course, Peter isn't immune to criticism. Recently, resurfaced footage from his old reality shows caused outrage. Clips of him mocking Katie or joking insensitively about Harvey spread online. Commentators called him out. So, how did Peter respond? Not with excuses, not with deflection. He simply said, "Nobody's perfect, everyone makes mistakes. But you get the measure of me over time. Consistency is what matters." And you know what? That line works. Because people can look at the last 15 years and see exactly that. A man who's been steady, reliable, and mostly scandal-free. Meanwhile, Katie continues to relaunch herself with chaos. Podcasts, feuds, bankruptcies, tell-alls. Her brand is permanent drama. Peter's brand is the opposite. Let's ask the big question. Why did the public largely side with Peter after the split? The answer isn't that he was flawless. The answer is that he changed. Katie never did. She still thrives on headlines. He learned to live without them. She turned chaos into currency. He turned consistency into credibility. By choosing normal, school runs, barbecues, safe gigs, he slowly built back respect. And when you put him side by side with Katie, the difference is blinding. If you really want to know who rebuilt their life better, just look at the kids. Junior and Princess have spoken publicly about the stability they found with their dad. They adore Emily. They describe their time with Peter as calm and safe. That's the ultimate verdict. You can't fake that. You can't PR your way into your kids' trust. Let's be clear. Peter Andre is not a saint. He's had his own scandals. He's benefited from clever PR. And he's not immune to criticism. But compare the ledger. On one side, you have Katie Price. Multiple bankruptcies, constant feuds, children dragged into the spotlight, chaos on repeat. On the other side, you have Peter Andre. Stable marriage, steady career, kids protected, drama kept private. Who really rebuilt their life? Reputation isn't built in a day. It's built in years of choices. And Peter Andre's choices since 2009 add up to one thing: survival through consistency. He went from a tabloid husband to a respected father, from chaos to calm, from being mocked to being trusted. That's the long game. And that's why, even now, when the old footage resurfaces and people question his image, he can stand firm. Because the bigger picture is clear. Peter Andre's life after Katie Price is a story about rebuilding, not perfectly, not without scars, but with patience, consistency, and a refusal to drown in the chaos. While Katie spirals through scandal after scandal, Peter has built a new life, one defined not by drama but by stability, and in the end, that's the greatest comeback of all. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into Peter Andre's story, make sure you hit subscribe right now. We've got more explosive celebrity stories on the way, and you won't want to miss a single one.